What's going on, paisanos? V here, coming at you with not a Marco watch, a tier list. So in this video, what I want to talk about, guys, is the current tier of Yu-Gi-Oh! From all our tier decks, to our rogue decks, to all casual decks. In this video, we're going to encompass all those decks. Now, I have a bunch of decks over here. Hopefully I have all of them. Some of them, I don't even know what the hell they are. Like, I mean, Final Countdown, why is this here? Why is this here? But whatever. We'll use the tools we're given. And in this video, I'm going to talk about all the decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! As far as what tier list they belong in, and discussing whether they're tier 0, tier 1, 1.5, tier 2, rogue, or just casual. So if you are a filthy casual, come watch this video. If you're a rogue player, check it out, see where you stand. Maybe you do not fit in rogue. Maybe you fit in more tier 2 or 1.5 decks. And I'll explain all these in a minute. Before I begin, guys, I want to say, please make sure to hit the like button, give the channel subscribe, and comment down below. We'd love to know what you guys think about these tier list videos. I feel like these, in my opinion, I feel like these are going to be a prediction list videos, in which some people are like, yeah, V, and other people are like, bro, and they just cock their keyboard, or their little phone where they're typing from, and just go, and it's typing 1,000 words a minute. I'm probably not gonna. I'm gonna read like the first 3 words and go, God, this guy has a paragraph, and be done with it. But no, let's go right into it. Right out the gate, there's no tier 0 decks in the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Currently. There's just none. If we took any one of these decks and put them in a different format, they would fit the term of tier 0 because no deck would be able to compete with them. Hell, you take full power strikers and fit it in any other format, it definitely would be a tier 0 deck. Altergeist would be probably the best control deck. It's probably the best control deck of all time, in my opinion. Hell, even ABCs would be a blowout deck in other formats. But since all these decks collided into this format, they fit a bit of a spectrum that is this tier list we have right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to delete tier 0 because it does not exist. The first thing we have is ABCs. Now, for ABCs, I think it's pretty much commonplace now that we have an ABC Striker mix-up. I think that's the kind of deck we have right now. And even though this deck doesn't have a lot of representation, the little representation it does have, it actually does see play. So we can't put it as a tier 2 because it has top with Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. I'm going to give it a 1.5. I'm going to give this deck, with Sky Striker ABCs, I feel it has a phenomenal matchup against certain tier 1 decks. But other tier 1 decks, it just gets outright trash. And that's what tier 1.5 is. It has the ability just to outright crap on certain decks and just lay down and go, okay, run me quickly to other decks. And that's why I think ABC or ABC Sky Strikers fits the tier 1.5 criteria. As far as Invoked, well, you got Invoked Mech Knights, but to be honest with you, Invoked Mech Knights don't really show. They pop up sporadically. They pop up at the same time, and you know what, we'll just move this over here as Mermo decks pop up. Maybe a little bit more than Mermo decks. And I'm a huge fan of Invoke. I love the Invoke archetype. I wish Invoke got more support, so they don't have to like combine with other things. They can be their own deck, because I think the deck is good enough. Has enough cards to be its own deck, as long as we get more cards, like, I don't know, more monsters. Maybe some better traps, but I think Invoked slash Mech Knights is a phenomenal deck, but it can't beat tier 1 decks consistently. And for that, I'm going to put that at tier 2 decks. Tier 2 decks cannot beat tier 1 easily. They have to get certain hands, certain draws. They have to get certain plays, and then maybe, sure, possibly, then they could beat tier 2 decks. And to be honest, so you could make an argument about Invoked being a rogue deck, but the problem with that is, I feel Invoked has topped events. And a good Invoke player can beat an average player that's not as, skill-wise as good as an Invoke player. I feel like if you lose to Invoke Mech Knights, all draws aside, or bricks aside, if he just straight up beat you and you both had a decent amount of cards in your hand, I felt it was just more of a skillful player for Invoked variants. Same with Mermo, by the way. The only reason I would move Mermo to tier 1.5 if it's the beginning of the meta. I mean, technically, I could put it 1.5 right now, but throughout the meta, it's going to drop to tier 2. And I feel Mermo's a phenomenal shotgun deck, because everyone's figuring out what they're doing in the beginning of the meta. You get one Mermo player who just walks in and slaps everybody. Oh, you want to know what that play does? Okay, cool. You end with 2 cards on board? Great. And just murders them. That's what I feel Mermo's is right now. I love the deck a lot. I really, really love the deck a lot. I've been playing it for a long time, and that's what I feel it is. Next we have Altergeist, and as much as I want to put Altergeist tier 1, as much I think it belongs to be tier 1, looking at this past weekend, it's definitely a tier 1.5 deck. I think Altergeist is a phenomenal deck. I think Altergeist can easily be a tier 1, but you know what, if you don't have the high enough representation of a certain deck at a Yu-Gi-Oh! Event, you're going to have lower numbers overall. With that said, I think same thing happened with Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss made top 16. I think it was a San Jose regional. The guy obviously knew what he was doing. It was the Earth Burning Abyss build build using Cherubini, I think the deck can easily be a tier 1 deck. But once again, you get a Yu-Gi-Oh event with 5 guys. One of those 5 guys make top 16 at San Jose Regionals. This ain't like some blower regionals. It ain't Nebraska. It's a real regionals. Yeah, you can't say the deck's trash. You can't say, oh, it's such an easy deck to beat. No, the deck is phenomenal, and that's why I have to put Burning Abyss at tier 1.5, as well as Altergeist. You know, you get a Yu-Gi event that's not with Fluffle players, and you get one Burning Abyss player who makes it into, let's say, like top 4. You go, wow, Fluffles was really good this meta. No, not really. Not if everyone's just riding Fluffle type, which we can make an argument for Orcust, which I just saw a little while ago. Okay, Orcust. Now, Orcust is definitely a tier 1. No doubt in my mind, Orcust is tier 1. Now, there's different variants of Orcust. We have Danger Orcust, we have Warrior Orcust, we have the Trickster Orcust, Sky Striker builds. There's a lot of and none of these variants are straight up. Each variant can blend with each other. You can put Dangers in the Trickster Sky Striker build. You can put Sky Strikers in the Warrior build. None of these are really. It's really fluid as a deck is what I'm trying to get at, guys. And that's why it's really hard to pick which Orcust deck is the best version at the moment, because it's really, none of them are. Everyone kind of lays back and says, well, the Danger version is the best version. Yeah, if it was the best version, go to the I think it was the San Jose region, I could be wrong, where the guy made, I think it was top 4 with Warrior Orcust. So you're going to tell every one of those Danger Orcust players that their build is better than a guy who actually made top 4? You can't do that. The guy made top 4, they're walking away with nothing. The guy gets to play him at a deck box. Great price support, KONAMI. But, yeah, no, I think Orcust definitely is a tier 1 deck. No, hands down. Now, for my rogue decks, we're gonna put Grandma's Garnet here. These are the decks that you go to Yu-Gi-Oh events, like a regionals, more than likely, maybe a local, but definitely a regionals, and you don't expect to play these decks. They catch you off guard in game 1, and then in game 2, their side deck has to be amazing. I feel with rogue decks' biggest problem is their side deck. If it's not amazing, they're gonna get crapped on. You're gonna steal a game 1, cool. Game 2 and 3 is gonna be over for you in 2 seconds, especially if you play against a tier 1 deck. So I think rogue decks are decks that people don't know about as much yet. You might even get players that don't know your deck. I played Prank Kids at a regionals not long ago, and everyone up until the last round was reading the translations. Besides one player one round that actually played the deck, didn't know nothing about Prank Kids. So I feel like rogue decks have a huge advantage over that. The problem is, if you are a rogue deck player, most rogue deck players need to know the other decks in the meta, and that's where I feel like they fall short. If they played more consistently, if we saw a lot more rogue decks that knew Grand Maju and played them more consistently, I mean a good amount, they could easily move to the tier 2 list, easily, for any rogue deck player. But the problem is just knowing your matchups, knowing what you need to do to beat those matchups and doing it consistently. And I think that's the biggest problem with rogue decks. Then we have Sky Strikers. Now, a lot of events would put Sky Strikers at 1.5. A lot of events, but I'm going to put it at tier 1, and the reason why, because Sky Strikers, besides the fact that it's definitely not dead, nothing happened to Sky Strikers in meta-wise. They lost one Kagari, and you think that's a big deal, but it's really not. I think Sky Strikers have proven themselves throughout the weekend to be tier 1 100%. Tier 1, done, that's it. And I think the Sky Strikers earned that tier 1 spot, and to put them in tier 1.5 is an insult to every Sky Striker player, and I'm just not going to do it. I think Sky Strikers can easily play with the big dogs at tier 1, and 1.5 decks can easily move up to tier 1, by the way. It's just being more consistent, having more representation, and having more tops. But with Strikers, they have all that in one bag. You got decks like Blue Eyes, which is a great casual deck. I'm just gonna put some of these down. Once again, this is a pre-approved template. You got Blue Eyes, regular Blue Eyes, good casual. Striker Blue Eyes, Rogue. There's another version of Blue Eyes too. I forgot the other version, but that's roguish. But most Blue Eyes is casual. You go to casual players. What decks you got there? Blue Eyes, Dark Magician. Oh my God, you love the show, don't you? Oh yeah, episode 14. Okay, now I'm done. Then you got Cyber Dragons. Now, Cyber Dragons, it's really hard to tell whether 1.5 or tier 2. I feel when you have a Cyber Dragon player who's phenomenal, they're gonna make that 1.5 spot easily. No Cyber Dragons have straight up one a YCS or regionals that I can recall recently, but they definitely have come very close. So that can make them a tier 1.5 deck. But then you got a rest of the Cyber Dragon players, and there's a ton of them that are at tier 2 level. They mess around against tier 1.5. Tier 1 is just a blowout matchup, and their excuse is, well, it's the best deck in the meta, blah, blah, blah. No, when you say you're playing against the best deck in the meta and you're playing a tier 2 deck, you're not prepared. That's all it comes down to. But looking at Cyber Dragons, a majority of Cyber Dragon players are tier 2. There are very few exceptions that are 1.5 and deservingly 1.5. Then you got this guy. Okay, so I mean, this is this is the Dark Warrior build of Orcust. Sure. I don't know what the hell that is. You got Harpies, great casual deck. Then you got Cosmos, their tier 2 deck. I think what I love about Cosmos is they go to destroy against Strikers, and Strikers are like, oh god, what do we do to beat this? Like that's what Cosmos always want to play Strikers, always nonstop Striker player. You a Striker player? Come here, I want to murder you. Because I just go in Destroyer, and then you go activate, and you go can't target, continue. Activate, can't target, continue. And I love that about Cosmos. It's probably one of my favorite matchups for the deck. If you are playing Cosmos against Strikers, all you want to play is nothing but Strikers. With that said, other decks don't really have a problem against Cosmos. Their matches are relatively easy for tier 1. And as far as 1.5, they also have a relatively, it's a mediocre matchup depending on the player's skill level. So that's why I see Cosmos. Let's grab Nekroz. Now, there's a lot of Nekroz fanboys that watch my videos, so I gotta watch what I'm saying. Nekroz players, you know you're not tier 1. We can't pretend you are tier 1. In order to be tier 1.5, you would have to have consistent regional tops. Don't point to this one guy in Illinois or Wisconsin that's made top 32. Not happening. No, you get tier 2 is because you don't have a consistent level of tops. Dual Power is out, and every weekend I expect to see a good amount of Nekroz players topping events, but we're not seeing it. So unfortunately, you're tier 2. We got Paleo Frogs over here. They're also tier 2. They've fallen off the map. Everyone's still holding on to Totally. I know I'm holding my Totally Awesomes. Everyone's else still holding Totally Awesomes for that new water archetype. So we have to see what happens right now with Paleo variants. Mostly Totally Awesome. I feel with that new archetype, it can move up high. Definitely 1.5. But one thing we still have to see. Then we got Spirals. Now, Spirals recently went undefeated at this one Yu-Gi-Oh event. And for that, you'll go, well, V, it's obviously 1.5. No, not necessarily. Spirals have one top, maybe a weekend, and these players are insane. Watch the videos. I've seen all of them. The players know what they're doing. They know what they want to play, and they study the meta phenomenally. Those are very rare exceptions of players. I gotta put those players in. I can't put a Spiral deck in 1.5 and then look at a Cyber Dragon player because they're both the same type of player. They're phenomenally. The tier 2 decks are the tier 2 players will complain about, I played meta decks, but the tier 1.5 versions of these players will go, I played the meta deck and I won and I got my invite. That's the difference. But the majority of the players that play Spirals and Cyber Dragons are going to be tier 2. Then we have Cyber Dragons. Now here's where it gets weird. I think pure Cyber Dragons is 1.5. Dangerous Cyber Dragons is easily tier 1. And I think it's pretty much, I mean, you can look online, guys, and figure and see all the deck lists, but the deck has not slowed down with the Dangerous Thunder Dragon builds all over the place. Dangerous Thunder Dragons also is a phenomenal counter to Strikers that need a search. You put 3 Colossus on board, you look at Striker player and go, good luck, hopefully you open the right hand because you can't search for anything, that's what you gotta play. I feel Dangerous Thunder Dragons still have a bit of a hard matchup against Orcust variants, but for Strikers, that's a free win, if the players were at the same skill level. But for Pure Thunder Dragons, I would say 1.5. Even though I want Pure Thunder Dragons to be tier 1, because I really love to see them tier 1, I think we're going to have to see the Danger variant be tier 1, whereas the 1.5 would be the Pure. Even though I think Pure needs to start playing more Denko Sekka, and I think they can move up to tier 1. But if you're not playing Denko Sekka, you're playing 2 Denko Sekka, you're playing to be spicy. Now you play 3, okay? We're in a meta where control decks, back row decks, striker decks, those are real decks. Even Orcust, when they do full combo and they set the count trap, you need to have a Denko Sekka to open with to continue doing your combo. Like, you need that. It's huge. Hopefully they do it. I guess this is True Dracos. True Dracos are easily 1.5. The reason I cannot say True Dracos are tier 1, even though I would love to say the tier 1, is because True Dracos are relatively new back on the scene. We've seen an explosion of True Draco players this weekend alone, and that's great. But the problem with that is True Dracos didn't really win anything relevant. They didn't win a major regionals. They topped a ton, and I can easily put them tier 1 to make everybody happy. But realistically, what's going to happen moving forward within the meta? Listen, the meta just shifted. We got a bunch of new stuff happening, and True Dracos have a great matchup against a lot of decks in the meta. Can they keep it up? If they do keep it up, I think it's a no-brainer they're going to make tier 1. But Rise Ups right now, they get the 1.5 slot. Let's see what you got. I'm just trying to analyze some of these and go like this is my Akashi, good casuals. Aliens, phenomenal casuals. Plants is rogue. There was, I think, a Plant FTK deck running around, but I'm not sure if it's consistent or if it's good enough. I'm not sure if we're ever going to see it again. Plants definitely make the rogue list. Blackwing's phenomenal. It's probably my favorite casual deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! and this is all personal preference when it comes to casual decks, is Blackwing. It's one of my favorite decks in the game for casual. If I see a bunch of players chilling out playing Yu-Gi-Oh! If they're playing Blue Eyes like Magician, if they're playing any of these decks, I'm going to whip out my Blackwings and we're going to play. I'm not trying to win. I'm not trying to lose. I'm just trying to play Yu-Gi-Oh! That's all I care about. That's what I love about casual decks. Casual players have it right. And then you get one guy who does one of these. He takes one, even a tier 2 deck, and goes, hey, can I play casual with you? And then you see all these players move to at least to tier 2 ranking. Some go rogue, and they slowly move up the tier list. I've seen that a lot. Search Seal. Search Seal gets to be, I'm going to put him on as a rogue deck because it's still tops, but it's super sporadic, and it's not really consistent. So I think that's definitely, what you call it, a rogue deck. Let's see what else we got here, guys. I'm trying to figure everything out. So I'm going to grab this and say this is Mystic Mind Burn. Mystic Mind Burn had a phenomenal weekend. I think the deck is insane. I do feel the deck still has big problems against cards like Twin Twisters. You set 5 back row, you end your turn, your opponent activates double Twin Twisters, you probably lost the game. Though I will say that I think that the deck is insane. I think a lot of the decks in this whole list entirely focus on putting monsters on board. And when Mystic Mind Burn, they just activate a field spell and then that's it. Majority of these decks already have a lot of spell and trap removal that's not monster related, so like straight up spell and trap removal that they can easily get, besides maybe Sky Strikers that can then use the spell and trap removal, but is it really that consistent? And I would argue that it's not, because we're still seeing a lot of Mystic Mind Burn decks atop, and I wouldn't be surprised moving forward we're going to see more Mystic Mind Burn decks. And this one deck, and this is why this deck's so scary and so huge, this one deck is going to change every one of these decks. Every one of these decks has to change if they want to play competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! From Rogue and above to combat Mystic Mind Burn. If you want to give a game 1 win to Mystic, you really want to give a game 1 win in our small timed rounds? No, it's silly. You're not going to want to do that. And with Mystic Mind Burn, I think this deck has a phenomenal game 1 against every single deck, going first or second. It doesn't matter. And I think a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players need to change their decks around. I think moving forward, you will see Yu-Gi-Oh! Players. Once again, I said Danger Thunder Dragons, but I think the Dragons can go to tier 1, and another easy matchup they can have is the Mystic Mind Burn matchup. I really do think that can be a thing, but they're still going to have to change the way the deck is. You got a lot of other Yu-Gi-Oh! Decks that are going to have to change to deal with this. You got Madochis, which is a great rogue deck, has a great combo, but that's really it. Then you got, what is it? It's the Sailor Moon deck. I always call it the Sailor Moon deck. God damn it. You guys know what I'm talking about. This deck is tier 2. It's falling off hard, really hard. You know what? That's casual. My what you call. Okay. Then you got Pendulum Magicians. Now this is old Pendulum Magicians. I feel that old Pendulum Magicians can still win events, but with that same sense, we didn't see that not many. I know you're gonna say, well, wait a minute, WCQ, we saw Pendulum Magicians. Jerry Mitchell's still playing it, probably the best Pendulum Magician player we have in the game. And that's a great argument for tier 1.5. The problem is it's not consistent with every other Yu-Gi-Oh! Event. I want a flat line of other Yu-Gi-Oh! Events that you can point me to. They go, look, Pendulum Magicians may top 8 here, they may top 8 here, they may top 8 here. These decks have to do this and do it consistently and have the ability to do it. And for that, I mean, once again, 1.5 or tier 2, there's no wrong answer, depending how you look at this deck. I love Pendulum Magicians. I own a max rarity. It costs like $60 a max rarity deck, by the way. At the time, I think it went up a lot more. I love Pendulum Magicians, but we gotta be honest with ourselves when we look at Pendulum Magicians. A majority of Pendulum Magician players, they make a tier 2 level. Jerry Mitchell and the rest of the guys, they're the unique ones, and they make the 1.5. Another deck that I think is tier 1 that a lot of people might argue with right now and get angry with me is Salad Boys. Salad Boys are tier 1. And I feel like a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players that were playing Salad hopped on the Orcust train. And it's fair enough. The deck's a phenomenal deck. But Salad still has a good amount of tops, good amount of representation. And I think moving forward, the deck is still going to get players. Their regional invites. We're gonna see Salad Boys in the top matchups of a YCS Tennessee coming up. And I wouldn't be surprised if Salaman Greats take those players to a higher position in nationals, or even post nationals when they're playing in the regional flights or side events, or what have you. Even after season, I think that Salamangreats is a phenomenal deck. You sleep on a deck, you get wrecked by the deck. It's that simple. You need to learn and respect this deck, or else it will take you out, hands down. And even though I don't want Salad to be tier 1, you got to be honest with yourselves when you're looking at this. I'm unbiased. They're tier 1. Let's see what else we got here, guys. Let's see. That goes down. That's my babies. No, what? No, they're rogue. I'm trying to see there's like other decks. This once again, I'm using this pre-approved template. It's nothing really crazy. I don't see many other decks here. I obviously missed some decks, and if you guys saw that I missed some decks, I would love it if you guys can comment down below and let me know what decks I missed and where do you feel these decks belong. Do you feel some of these decks belong in Tier 1, Tier 1.5, Tier 2, Rogue, Casual? Please comment down below and let me know what you think these decks belong in. This isn't Prank Kids, but I'm putting Prank Kids as a Rogue deck. Just because, yeah, I'm biased. I'm 100% biased, but I think Prank Kids is still a great deck in this meta, and I think it's a phenomenal Rogue deck. Definitely not Tier 2, by the way. I know I was on a Prank Kids Facebook group earlier, and they're like, where do we fit? And one guy said Tier 2, and I was just laughing. I was like, come on, man, we're not Tier 2. Tier 2 means you can take a Tier 0.15 out deck relatively consistently. These decks will crap on you. Like, your worst matchup is Altergeist, and it's 1.5. Like, you're not ready. But I do feel Prank Kids have the ability to get players their win. Get players a regional invite, as I've gotten my regional invite with Prank Kids. But I will say, guys, I think there's a lot of decks in this game. I think we're in a very diverse meta where a lot of random decks can still catch people off guard and still get Yu-Gi-Oh players their regional invite. Maybe even a YCS Tennessee top. Maybe even a win with a random deck that's not listed on here. And I want to know what you guys think. Please comment down below. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. What do you think is one of the best decks nobody's looking at right now? What's a blowout deck? What's a good combo? What's a good strategy? What do you think belongs on this list? And what do you think belongs to a different tier on this list? And I would love to know what you guys think. I really would love to read your comments down below, guys. I read every single one of your comments, even the paragraph ones, which I hate reading, but I still read the hell. I read it like 2 or 3 times, and I would love to know what you guys think. Anyway, I really appreciate you paisans watching this video. Please make sure to subscribe. And what deck are you playing? Orcust, Strikers, Thunder Dragons, Mystic Mindbird, Salamangreats, any of these decks. I'll tell you what I'm playing on the next episode of Dragon Ball V. See you later, paisanos.